all get sacrifices.
Dharmapate,
Dharmapate,
unto the master, or founder of religious principles, Vidhi Naipunaya, who gives the devotee the intelligence to follow the regulative principles explained. The personification of mystic yoga. Sankhya Shilse, who taught the Sankhya philosophy, or who actually gives knowledge of Sankhya to the people of the world. Prakriti Ishwaraya, the supreme controller of this cosmic manifestation. Narayanaya, the resting place of the innumerable living entities. Nara means the living entities, and Ayana means the shelter. Hare, unto the supreme personality of God, known as Hari. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Iti, thus, Udaram, very loudly. Hasyam, smiling. Virgattapi, although in the body of a deer. Jaha, who? Samudara Chanta. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Please repeat the translation. Even though in the body of a deer, Maharaj Bharat did not forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, when he was giving up the body of a deer, he loudly uttered the following prayer. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sacrifice personified. He gives the results of ritualistic activity. He is the protector of religious systems. The personification of mystic yoga. The source of all knowledge. The controller of the entire creation. And the super soul. In every living entity. He is beautiful and attractive. I am quitting this body, offering obeisances unto him, and hoping that I may perpetually engage in his transcendental loving service. Uttering this, Maharaj Bharat left his body. Let's hear Srila Prabhupada's purport. The entire Vedas are meant for the understanding of karma, jnana, and yoga, fruitive activity, speculative knowledge, and mystic yoga. Whatever way of spiritual realization we accept, the ultimate goal is Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entities are eternally connected with Him via devotional service. As stated in Srimad Bhagwatam, Ante Narayana Smriti, the perfection of life is to remember Narayana at the time of death. Although Bharat Maharaj had to accept the body of a deer, he could remember Narayana at the time of death. Consequently, he took birth as a perfect devotee in a Brahmana family. This confirms the statement of Bhagavad Gita 6:41. Suchinam Srimatayehe Yoga Vrashto Abhijayate. One who falls from the path of self-realization takes birth in a family of Brahmanas or wealthy aristocrats. Although Maharaj Bharat appeared in the royal family, he became neglected and took birth as a baby. Because he was very cautious within his dear body, he took birth in a Brahmana family as Jagat. During this lifetime, he remained perfectly Krishna conscious and preached the gospel of Krishna consciousness directly, beginning with his instructions to Maharaj Prabhu. In this regard, the word yogaya is very significant. The purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, as stated by Madhvacharya, is to link or connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The goal is not to display some material perfection. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jnanam Janasya Chakshurumilitam Tasmai Shri. So this verse is telling us the glories of Bharat Maharaj. And you all have studied and you all know this wonderful glories of Bharat Maharaj. The beauty of Bharat Maharaj's story is that so much is there to learn from him, not just in one life, but actually in 3 lives. In the first life, Bharat Maharaj was such a powerful king, and he was actually ready to give up everything just for Krishna. If you read the previous shlokas, you will find actually that Bharat Maharaj is described as someone who was prepared to give up his family, he was prepared to give up his wealth, he was prepared to give up everything for the Lord. And the Lord is known as Uttama Shloka. Uttama Shloka. Now this word Uttama Shloka is very important because Uttama means the highest and the greatest. Shloka does not just mean verses. Shloka actually has a deeper meaning. And the word shloka means to glorify. No, we do not compose shlokas for each other. Like if I want to speak about you, I will not write a shloka. Shloka is only written in glorification of Krishna. So the word shloka only means glorification of Krishna. This is a very important point. You know, in the 12th canto, 12th chapter, I think it is 48 verse, very nicely this point of glorification is given and the power of glorification is given. It is so nice that even though we have a wedding today, we are given a chance to speak about Krishna in the wedding. Normally during weddings, it's very hard to remember Krishna, even though it is the most important time to remember Krishna. Right? But it is a very difficult time to remember Krishna because everyone is concentrating on the marriage. But they don't realize that if Krishna is not in the center of the marriage, nothing, no marriage, no relationship, nothing can be of value. This is a very important point. Many things may be of value, but until Krishna is in the center, it is not going to be of value. That's why today it is so nice that this young couple have decided to get married in front of Krishna. They came all the way to Rajkot, Radha Leela Madhav Dham, so that they can get the blessings of Radha Leela Madhav. So that is why we consider Krishna as Uttama Shloka. Shloka means to glorify. So in 12:48, you know, Shukadeva Goswami sings very nicely. Sangeetyamano, Bhagavan Anantaha, Ruchiram navam Tadeva Shashvan Manaso Mahosarvam Tadeva Shukha Navashoshanam Yaduttama Shloka Yasho Anugiyate. So you see the 2 shlokas, it is in 12:48 and 12:15. So nicely Shukadeva Goswami is saying that when we properly glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we try to say something nice about Krishna, when we try to remember how merciful Krishna is, then what happens? Krishna immediately and personally, he enters into our hearts. Shukadeva Goswami guarantees it. He enters into our hearts personally. He doesn't send someone. There is no delegation. Krishna personally enters the heart. And when he enters the heart, he cleans every trace of misfortune. Whatever misfortune we have, it is actually gone. People may ask, what is the great misfortune? The greatest misfortune is not to remember Krishna. That is the greatest misfortune. If we are remembering Krishna, then it is always fortunate. So in any transaction, is only satsang if you remember Krishna. Then if you remember Krishna, then Krishna will clear away all misfortunes in the heart. Just like the sun can remove darkness, just like the wind can blow the clouds away. Then Shukadeva Goswami goes on to say, those words that we use to glorify Krishna, those words, they are very attractive, they are very relishable, and they are never deteriorating. Navam. They are always fresh. Isn't it true? How many years we are speaking about Krishna, and yet we are never tired of speaking about Krishna. If today we were to speak about anyone else, immediately we become tired. Supposing now this is wedding function, actually it is a wedding function, but in the wedding function we are now talking to each other. Each one of us will talk to the other person about our pastime, isn't it? We will never talk about Krishna's pastime. We will say, I did this, I did that, and then you will say, I did this, I did that. We will talk about each other's history. But after 2-3 minutes, we want to say, thank you very much, I'll go to someone else. Nobody wants to stick to one person in a wedding. Nobody, unless you're getting married, then you have to stick to one person. Other than that, you're just moving around, talking to everyone. Because you cannot stand talking too long. People cannot stand your pastime, and you can't take other people's pastime. Because it is very boring, it is not attractive, it is not relishable, and it is never fresh. It's never fresh. But if you speak about Krishna, then it is ever attractive. Despite so much things going on during the wedding, we are still hearing Krishna because it is attractive. This message is piercing through everything. It is attractive. And why is it attractive? Because it is relishable. And why is it relishable? Because it is ever fresh. Something that is fresh, always you go back to it. You're always peaceful. In this world, Maharaj told us, there is one item in this world that's always fresh, and it is running water. Running water. Running water always is fresh. That's why it is running. But the moment the water stops, right, it is no more fresh. No one wants to touch still water. No one wants to touch that water which is very which is not moving. It is known as stale water, right? Stale water. But running water, everyone wants to touch. Krishna is like that. His pastimes are always fresh. And those who hear about Krishna, then this whole festival, wedding is normally a festival, isn't it? They call it a Utsav. But actually, Utsav is only for Krishna. And when you hear about Krishna, it is Maho Utsavam. It is a perpetual festival. It continues. And what does the festival do? It dries up the ocean of misery within the mind. This is a very important point. This misery in the mind is like an ocean. It is not drops of water. It is an ocean. If we do not put Krishna in the center, there is this ocean of misery, it will wipe us out. Now if Kinkar Prabhu and Mataji do not put Krishna in the center, then the ocean of misery will overwhelm them. But if they put Krishna in the center, then their relationship will be ever fresh because they are connected to Krishna. How many years we have been meeting? And 3 years since we all met, especially with Abu Dhabi, right? When I talk about Abu Dhabi, I mean everyone from Abu Dhabi. Doesn't matter if you went back to India, you're still considered Abu Dhabi. And when you meet together, it is like it was just yesterday only we met. It is not like we don't know who we are. It is not like we have not spoken to each other and then we don't speak to each other anymore. It is just like we met yesterday. Why? Because it is Sadhu Sangha. That is why it is Maho Utsava. So why is this important point here? It is important here because Shukadeva Goswami is saying that Bharat Maharaj was a very great individual. In the verse before, if you look at it, Bharat Maharaj was very attracted to Krishna and he gave up so many things for Krishna. Why? Because Krishna is the source of all attraction. If you are really attracted to Krishna, you will give up everything. But giving up everything doesn't mean that you abandon it. Maharaj told us there's a difference between giving up something and abandoning it. We give up our husbands and our wives and Krishna and our children, but we do not abandon them. We give them up. We give them up because we serve them. Because we realize that they are not ours. They are part of Krishna. This is how we give them up. We don't artificially walk away from them, but we know that they are not our property. We know that they are Krishna's property. So therefore we don't abandon them. The husband does not abandon the wife doesn't abandon the husband, but the husband and wife both give up. We give up for Krishna. We give up, and the more we give up for Krishna, the happier Krishna keeps us. This is a very important point. I think in the shloka 9, 4, 65 maybe, Krishna says very nice point to Durvasa Muni. He says, Ye Daragara, right? Ye Daragara, Putrapta. He says that these devotees of the Lord, they have given up their wives, they have given up their husbands, they have given up their children. Pranam, Imam. He says that Krishna says they've even given up their lives. Pranam, Imam, Pranam, Ittam, Imam. Very important point. Everything they are ready to give up. Everything. And Hitvamam, they are giving it all this to Mam, to me. Hitvamam Sharanam Gatapa. They are surrendering everything to Krishna. You all have come for the wedding, but actually the wedding is a reason for us to gather as devotees. Isn't it true? We have come to bless the couple, but at the same time, we have really come to take sadhu sangha of each other. That's why we are coming together. And the couple is wanting this sadhu sangha. That's why they invited all of us. That's why Abhiratani Mataji and Girivartari Prabhu, that's why they decided we must have it here. And it's so nice that Kinkar, his dream was that he should get married in Rajya. Actually, frankly, if you think about it, which boy that age wants to get married this way? You are foregoing so many material things, but you want to get married in Rajya in the presence of Maharaj. This is the mood of the devotee. This is giving up. But he did not abandon his marriage. No, she's very much there. They are there. So no abandoning. But they have given up. So these are the two things that are different. So Bharat Maharaj, he gave up his kingdom. He gave up everything for Krishna. But he did not abandon them. He did not give up all his responsibilities in an irresponsible manner. This is an important point for us to remember. When the Pandavas decided to retire, they were not acting irresponsibly. In fact, Bhagwatam tells us they did what we call a succession plan. They immediately trained up. They had trained up Parikshit Maharaj to take over. And at the right point, they gave it to Parikshit Maharaj. Are we ready to give things up which we are attached to? That is the question we have to ask on today's Bhagavatam. How much are we ready to give up things? Actually, we are very ready to give up things which are troublesome to us. And then we say we are very renounced. If you go to Dwarka, there are so many sadhus sitting there, and they will tell you that I've given up my wife. But the next sadhu will say, he did not give up the wife chased him out of the house. Or he could not take his wife anymore, that's why he gave up. There is no renunciation. Giving up means that we don't abandon our responsibilities, but we realize that there is a higher goal to our life. So the Pandavas put Parikshit Maharaj on the throne, and after they put him on the throne, they headed straight for the north. They never looked back. And Bharat Maharaj also did the same thing. He never looked back. And this is very important. So this last few verses here, they are talking about how we give up, but we don't abandon. This is very important. Maharaj told us never to give up our responsibilities. Do it well, but you should do it in such a way that you should understand that nothing should be coming to you. If we take care of our children, we should not think that they should take care of us. If we do that, then we are expecting and we will be disappointed. Now supposing the couple gets married, now the elderly, they may think now that they should behave a certain way. They may have to, but it may not be. So we should not think that we did all your wedding very nicely, now you have to do all these things for us. It's not that after the wedding, Girivartari Prabhu is going to go to Krishna Kirtan Prabhu and say, this is the bill, son. Now in 5 years you pay out. No, we are not going to say that. We are not going to say that. So this is how those who live in this world as devotees will become detached. Those who give up, they are detached. Those who abandon, they are attached. This is very important point. Those who give up for Krishna, right, they are actually very detached. Those who are loving by nature, they are detached. But those who are very attached, they are not loving by nature. They are expecting things. When things are very nice, they are with you. When things don't go right, then they are not with you. So they may look like they are detached, but they are very attached actually. So if you give up your responsibility and you abandon your responsibility, how will you know which is which? The result is, are you detached or are you attached? Bharat Maharaj gave up his responsibilities very nicely, and Shukadev Goswami praises him. He praises him. And this is one very nice point about devotees. When devotees see other devotees behaving very nicely, they always glorify that devotee. They don't speak about themselves. They always speak of others. This is a very important point. And if they cannot do something and they see others doing it, they become even more happy. What is that shloka? Shravanti gayanti grananti avishnashaha smaranti nandanti kavehitaranjana taeva pashyanti achirena karakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Maharaj liked this verse. He liked it because only three things Kunti Mata is saying. That whatever you do, you hear, you repeat, and then you hear, you repeat.
You accept.
You accept, right? Prananti. You hear, you repeat, you chant, you accept. And then what happens if you cannot do these things? Nandanti. You take pleasure in others doing, hearing, repeating, and accepting. This is very important. We may not have the capacity, but if we see others having capacity, we should become very happy for them. If we see someone singing nicely, we should be very happy they can sing, because we are benefiting. If we see someone doing something wonderful, we should accept that they are doing something wonderful. We are benefiting. You see? So, Bharat Maharaj was not envious. Shukadev Goswami, by praising Bharat Maharaj, was not envious. And the whole Bhagwatam is full of those who are not envious. This is very important. That's why Bharat Maharaj could leave his kingdom, because he was not envious. If you can give up for Krishna, the first thing you give up is actually your envy. But if you are very attached and you abandon something, very often we abandon because we are envious of someone. We can't keep up with them, and therefore we walk away. Have you heard of the story of the sour grapes? This fox, it tried to get the grapes, but because it was too high, eventually the fox said, the grapes are very sour, so I will go. Actually, it wanted the grapes very much, but because it couldn't get it, it condemned that. Shukadev Goswami doesn't do that. Bharat Maharaj didn't do that. All the Vaishnavas didn't do that. And that is very important for us. So in this point, today I think today, it is nicely stated in Grantaraj posting that Maharaj says so nicely that we may desire for everything. We all have desires. Bharat Maharaj also had desires. Parikshit Maharaj also had desires. All the great devotees had desires. Prabhupada said nobody can be desireless. But Maharaj said nicely, desiring for anything does not mean we are envious. But Maharaj cautions us, if you desire for something because another person has it, then you become envious. Then you become envious. So Bharat Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami is seeing the greatness of Bharat Maharaj. Even though Bharat Maharaj has something that Shukadev Goswami wants, he is not envious. He is praising him. This is the mood of a devotee. Otherwise, what happens is, we will get pride and envy in our existence. They will come. And this pride and envy will stop our devotion service. This is very important. So Bharat Maharaj, he had no envy in his heart. That's why he was prepared to glorify Krishna as Uttama Shloka. And that is why he left everything and he went to the forest. But Shukadeva Goswami explains now to Parikshit Maharaj that even though he left everything, somehow or another he was caught again by attachment. Why is that so? People ask why Bharat Maharaj left everything and then he got caught up by a deer, not anyone else, not even a human being. He actually got caught up by a deer. Why? Because Bhagwatam tells us a very important point. Without sadhu sangha, it is very difficult to do devotional service. One person to do devotional service is very hard. Maybe you can do your chanting every day alone, but all other services you must do together. Now we are all together, that's what we can hear. If you were one person and I was one person speaking, it's very hard. But you're all sitting together, right? So sadhu sangha is there. Everyone is looking and seeing, are you hearing? Are you hearing? We may be thinking, someone may see that we are not hearing, so better we hear. So sadhu sangha helps us actually. In sadhu sangha, we will all be alert. But without sadhu sangha, we are not alert. So Shukadeva Goswami in one of the purports say, if you are not alert in discharging devotional service, then Bharat Maharaj's situation will happen. It will happen. Have you heard of razor's edge? When you shave yourself, what happens, Prabhupada says? Supposing you're shaving, you should be very attentive to shaving. The moment you turn, or somebody is shouting, and you say something, what happens? You will cut. You will cut. So devotional service is like that. If you're not careful in the discharge of your devotional service, then Bharat Maharaj's situation will happen. This is very important point. So Bharat Maharaj stands for the principle of sadhu sangha. But Bharat Maharaj also stands for another important principle. Krishna arranged his life in such a way to show us the power of devotional service. This is second point. The second point is the power of devotional service. Namanichin Madhvaraha Shantarupe Nakshan Dinome Legi No Nakshan Dinome what is the Nimisho Legi. These two lines are very important. Kapila Dev tells his mother that, my dear mother, remember one thing, devotional service cannot be destroyed. It is an opulence. It is an opulence. It is what we call Aishwarya. It is a gift. It cannot be destroyed. And no time can destroy devotional service. Time can destroy everything, but it cannot destroy your bhakti. Very important. No weapon can destroy bhakti. You can use any weapon, but it cannot destroy bhakti. And this bhakti is so powerful that even though Bharat Maharaj forgot Krishna and he remembered the deer, Krishna did not forget him. Maharaj says so nicely that you cannot remember Krishna until Krishna remembers you. Isn't it? What is the meaning of that? Bharat Maharaj forgot Krishna, but Krishna never forgot him. So what happened was, as he died, he remembered the deer. And in next life, he became the deer. Now that is also a very important thing. Maharaj told us that we should be very careful what we are remembering at the point of death. Maharaj said, if you remember your wife, then in next life you will wear sari. If you remember your husband, next life you wear dhoti. So who wants to come back to wear sari or dhoti? You don't want to do that, isn't it? Better we remember Krishna. So that is why Bharat Maharaj, he remembered the deer. So he took the body of a deer. But even though he took the body of a deer, Krishna kept his consciousness intact. This is a very powerful point. Krishna kept his consciousness intact. The same thing happened to who? Gajendra. Isn't it? If you remember, Gajendra also forgot Krishna as an elephant. But in previous life he was a devotee, Indrajindra Maharaj. And even though he was cursed, he became an elephant. But at the time when he was really in trouble, Krishna remembered him. And because of that, when he said that I am in difficulty, the source of all sources, Param Parayanam, the source of all sources is the shelter of all shelters. I don't know who he is, Rajendra never stated Krishna's name, but I know he is supreme, and therefore he will save me. And the moment he said that, Krishna, he gave him the remembrance. He gave him the remembrance. And how did he give him the remembrance? Because Rajendra fixed his mind in his heart with perfect intelligence. This is very important. He fixed his mind in his heart. So whatever we are thinking, mentally, it will disturb us. But if we fix our mind in the heart to remember Krishna, then Krishna will give us the intelligence to come back. This is the formula between heart, mind and intelligence. Fix your mind in your heart and remember Krishna. And if you do that, Krishna will give you the intelligence to go back to him. Because only he can give us the intelligence. Right? Tesham satata yuktana bhajata priti purvaka. If you do service to Krishna lovingly, Krishna will give you upayamite. He will give you the intelligence. So Gajendra remembered Krishna, and then Krishna allowed him to remember all the shlokas. All the shlokas. Sometimes we want to remember shlokas, but we cannot. Sometimes we don't want to remember shlokas, all shlokas will come. Sometimes you want to do something you cannot remember. Karna wanted to remember so much the mantras, isn't it? At the point to evoke. But Krishna made him forget everything. Everything. So Krishna, even though Bharat Maharaj forgot Krishna, when he became a deer, Krishna remembered Bharat. And what did he do? He gave him remembrance as a deer of his past life. Maharaj told us that if you remember your past life, actually you will all become very good devotees. Because past life was very difficult. Very difficult. So Maharaj said, if everybody can remember past life, you will all become devotees. So I asked Maharaj then, why doesn't Krishna give us remembrance of past life? Because Maharaj said, before you can become devotee, your remembrance of your past life will become so horrible that you will die before you become devotee. So better not to remember the past life. It is that difficult. But Bharat Maharaj was given the chance to remember Krishna, even though he was a deer. So it doesn't matter, Prabhu said, Mataji, what body you have. It doesn't matter whether you have dementia or Alzheimer's. People outside may think, oh, he will forget Krishna. But don't worry. Even in Alzheimer's, even in stroke, Maharaj told us, even in coma, the rest of the world will think you are gone. But you are remembering Krishna. You are remembering. So many examples we have in our movement of people remembering Krishna very well. Very well. One Mataji who served, in the US temple, many years she served. Then she had dementia. She could not remember anything. She could not remember devotees even. So devotees were thinking, that this is so sad. She cannot remember Krishna. But Krishna was so kind that Krishna gave her the dementia that she kept chanting every day. And they asked her, why you are chanting every day, every hour? She doesn't stop chanting. Because she said, I haven't finished chanting my 16 rounds. I haven't finished chanting. I haven't finished chanting. Every time she finished chanting, Krishna gave her no memory. So again she has to chant. Actually that's a very good example of dementia, isn't it? If only Krishna can give us that, I think we will survive. So he gave her like that. Up till the end of her life, she didn't stop chanting. Because she forgot that she had chanted. It's amazing. Who can do this except Krishna? So Krishna gave the power of remembrance to the deer and gave him a chance to remember Krishna. He remembered his past life. And when he remembered his past life, then what did he do? He repented. So this is the third point of Bharat Maharaj's story. Right? The second was devotional service. The first was sadhu sangha. And the third point is this remembrance of his devotional service. And how did he remember his devotional service? Because he repented. Repentance is very important. When you do something wrong, you should feel that what I've done is not right. When Parikshit Maharaj put the garland on Samika Rishi, and it was a date snake, the moment he did that, he knew he was wrong. He spoke in his heart, and I'm wrong. That feeling of repentance and remorse that will allow us to remember Krishna. Because Parikshit Maharaj expressed remorse and repentance, immediately he got cursed. He got cursed immediately. But that curse was very good for him. Because he had to give up everything. Not abandon, but give up. So he gave up. And he came to the shores of Yamuna. And he remembered Krishna. So, when we are remorseful for our actions, when we think, Prabhu, it's not your fault, it is my fault. How many times Maharaj told us, sometimes when we were just helping Maharaj would say, sorry. And I asked Maharaj, why you are saying sorry? Because Maharaj said, because I am repenting that you should be serving me in such a difficult way. I am repenting that I have to create so much difficulty for my disciples. Even my son doesn't have to serve me this way. But I am creating so much difficulty for you all. I cannot walk from my bathroom to my bed. I cannot walk from one point to the other. When I go to somebody's place, they have to do everything for me. Everything. Punya Bhagwatam Prabhu's house in Abu Dhabi. He did everything for Maharaj. Even when there was nothing to do, he was doing something. That was his service. Maharaj used to tell me, Punya Bhagwatam Prabhu would come in. Every few minutes he will come in. He will touch the tables. He will walk around, make sure everything is okay and go out. And Maharaj will say, why did he come in? I don't know why you came in. But he comes in. He keeps coming in. So those who feel that what they are doing is not enough, or they feel that they should do better, that is also remorse. Remorse doesn't mean you have to do something wrong. Remorse can mean that you must do something better. That is also remorse. I'm chanting, but I'm remorseful that I'm not doing it well. That is remorse. Sometimes we think we are so right about something. Our parents tell us we should do something. We say, no, we should do something else. But later when we think about it, we understand that there must be some reason why they're telling me to do that. That feeling is actually remorse. It is a feeling of repentance. I should hear that. I should not think I am only right. Nobody is right all the time. We must hear others. That is repentance. So Bharat, when he became a deer, he repented. Why didn't I behave properly? Why did I not use my life for Krishna? And in that way, he became very peaceful. And that's why in this shloka, Shukadeva Goswami is saying, even though he was in the body of a deer, Maharaj Bharat did not forget Krishna. And when he was giving up the body of the deer, Krishna kept his consciousness intact so that he could remember Krishna. This is because of remorse. This is because of devotional service. This is because of Krishna's mercy. And this is because that he had the sadhu sangha. So you may ask now, as a deer, where was his sadhu sangha? Where? He was not sitting down and doing kirtan with other deers. There was no deer kirtan, nothing like that. But there was sadhu sangha. What he did was this. He first of all gave up asat sangha. When you give up asat sangha, immediately there is sadhu sangha. This is very important. When you give up asat sangha, you immediately remember Krishna. So what did he do? He did not stay with the other deers. He moved away. He did not want to get too much attached to the family of deers. He moved away. And he always stayed around the hermitage of the sadhus. He was taking sadhu. He was taking sadhu sangha. He was staying around the ashram where all the sadhus were staying. And so he heard Bhagwatam from them. See, this is sadhu sangha. So even though as a man, he did not hear Bhagwatam, he heard the deer. As the deer, he heard Bhagwatam. And he heard from all the Bhakti Vedantas. And because he was away from all the Asat Sangha, he took Sadhu Sangha. And most important Sadhu Sangha that he took was to remember Krishna. Maharaj told us, even if you're alone, if you're reading Prabhupada's book, there is first class Sadhu Sangha. First class. You don't need anything else. If you are with Krishna in Bhagavatam, it is first class Sadhu Sangha, And so he did that. And that's why at the end of the life, he could remember Krishna. And how did he remember Krishna? By glorifying him. This is how he glorified him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is sacrifice personified. Today, we are in front of Krishna. This yajna of marriage, the witnesses and He is sacrifice personified. So we must be ready to sacrifice anything and everything for Krishna. Second point, he's saying that he gives the results of all the ritualistic activities. This is a very important point. Dharma pataye. Nobody can give results but Krishna. We think somebody will give us the result, but only Krishna gives us the result. And the third point he makes, which is very nice, Vidhi Naipunaya. Vidhi Naipunaya has a very nice meaning. Who gives the devotees the intelligence to follow the regulated principles. You see? So it is Krishna who gives us intelligence to follow. It is not our own mind. Krishna gives us the intelligence. And so in this way, Bharat Maharaj left his body. And so next life, Krishna gave him the chance to become Jadabharat. To become Jadabharat. And once he became Jadabharat, he became fool number one to the outside world. But internally, he became the greatest of devotees. And that is the last lesson from Bharat Maharaj. Never judge a book by its cover. Never. In the first cover, Bharat Maharaj was a king who gave up everything. So anyone looking at him will think that he is number one devotee. But he fell because he remembered that deer. In second life, his body was a simple deer. No dhoti, kurta, tilak, nothing. No big bag, nothing. But he was very great. And in third life, he was a fool. And everyone thought he was a fool. Except Krishna knew that he was not a fool. He was such a great devotee that even Durga, right, in the form of goddess Kali, she herself protected Bharat Maharaj from the Dambais. Who will do this if you are a fool? So never judge a devotee by their externality. Just because they look one way, just because they don't look in a certain way, just because they are not dressed in dhoti, tilak and kurta, just because they look a bit fancy, be very careful not to judge devotees. We don't know who is a devotee from those Mataji's, and we don't know who is a pure devotee. A pure devotee could be sitting next to you, and you're thinking this person is useless, this person doesn't know anything, this person has so much opulence. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was opulence number one, right? If he was in the modern day, he would be driving a Mercedes. That's Pundarik Vidyanidhi. But he was very powerful devotee, very powerful devotee. So please, don't judge who is a devotee. That's why Prabhupada's point is very nice. Except for you, right? Everyone is a devotee. Everyone is a devotee. In other words, always understand that Krishna is in the heart of everyone. This is the glorious pastime of Bharat Maharaj. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagwatam ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Gurudev ki. Ananta Moni Vaishnavendra ki. Jai Gaur Prabhu.
Devakinandan Prabhu ki.
Okay. We do keep it 5 minutes.
Hariman, Prabhuji. Kirtan nama करूँ बंद. No problem. I'm using that.